So today is the 18th of December, 2021. And so with my outfit, it's a little bit different. I do have a business jacket that I can put on, but I didn't want the poofy arms because it just would look weird underneath the jacket. Yeah, that's kind of, I do have the matching jacket though. And so I could make a joke in reference to a song I heard that has a video. And on this video, these guys are wearing these black suits. Look cute. They have white shirts underneath with a black tie. I got it. So, and then the little... I have a twisted sense of humor. It is what it is. I can make my jokes. It is what it is. And so I've been through a few different situations, to put it mildly. And now you got to remember that I grew up where I was only allowed to watch G-rated movies. And the majority of movies that I grew up watching were Disney. Now, there's no offense to Disney. I like Disney. I just... the park is a little much for me to go through. I acknowledge I would need a babysitter to go through. Which, I probably would not be the only one who would need a babysitter to go through Disney. So I've had a few situations over the years. And I've already acknowledged the after effects of my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000. And I've done what I could more recently to take care of aligning the timelines. Now, this is not really for me. I already know this stuff. I don't actually need to do this. Let me clarify that. So while some people, however it is viewed, might have whatever opinions they have, this is not for me. I don't get anything officially out of this by doing all this clarifying, except for the fact of it is clarified in which the timelines are capable for others to make sense. It doesn't help me. It really doesn't. I've already processed all this stuff. I'm literally putting myself through all of the stuff that I already processed years and decades ago. This isn't a, what is it some people do? They go through the psychological something or another. No, I already dealt with this. This is nothing new to me. The timelines and clarifications, that's for everybody except myself, because I've already known it. So I've clarified certain things in reference to CID out at Fort Sam Houston. When I was back in Texas after how I wound up in Washington State. That particular clarification, I believe, was either towards the end of 2019 or beginning of 2020. And so I'm not doing this for me, with the exception of, in some ways, essentially being capable to, well, this is the truth. So it doesn't really, by all accounts, do anything positive for me, especially when I have to go through certain things to get to the details of. So for whatever might possibly be an opinion, which it is what it is, it really isn't what you probably assume, and then, that whole assumption thing. And so the clarifying of dates, timelines, and all that doesn't actually help me going over that at those times. I've already processed the situations. I've already gone, obviously I went through the situations, but I've already clarified that in regards of the timelines, the different fact books that I've written. Again, go to my website, www.susanmeeling.com. Obviously, I'm the one and only Susan MeeLing. I've also been known as Reverend Susan MeeLing, and my modeling name, and I've done a few performances as far as that's concerned, Lady Dori Belle. or Lady MeeLing in reference to another community, whatever, ish, because it wasn't just the Excalibur Fair that I was known as Lady MeeLing. For clarification. So, I've had a lot of experiences over my life, and I'm not that old, which is another situation where I've had personal problems when it came to other individuals, whether they were older than me, usually they were, or younger than me. So if they were older than me, it was usually, oh, that was before your time, or, you know, sure, you have an old soul, but whatever, opinion. And it's, okay, no, I'm not gonna, I'll be respectful to my biological elders, that's fine. No, that's fine. I will be respectful to my biological elders, that's fine. I will. As far as those who are younger than me biologically, yes, I can still be respectful. Because yes, you've read whatever book, you've watched whatever movie, you've got your pop culture reference of whatever. That's fine. No, that's fine. You have your opinions from all that. Okay, I can be respectful and I can listen and be kind and all that. That's fine. Yeah, sure. So in regards of clarifying, it's one of those that's really more for others to have that understanding. So all of the people that I've known over the years, the various explanations, that's not for me. The various explanations even now are not for me. I don't go and watch myself. I don't go and once I post something, I can't be the only one. I go and post it, I'll read through it as best as I can as far as writings, and then once it's posted, for the most part, it stays that way. That's it. That's how it goes. If there's any editing that needs to be made, especially when it comes to my books, then I have my journal blog, The Ornery PSA, on my website, www.susanmeeling.com. So I do what I can, partially because, well, I've accomplished a few things that possibly needed clarifications, because a bunch of people who I knew during the times didn't take into consideration anything other than whatever their arrogances were, whatever their opinions were, whatever it is. You know, whether they did not remember certain things, and then why would you be in charge of anything if you can't even get that correct, such as how I took Greco-Roman Latin. It's a huge thing when it comes to words and explanations and clarifications. Another thing in regards of words, there are words that are not going to be in the dictionary. Do you know why? Because they're legal terminology. Or they're older words that didn't get officially written down in ways of, like, for example, there's the Sumerian language. You're still working on that. You're still working on the Rosetta Stone. You're still working on Egyptian hieroglyphics. Just gonna throw this out there. You haven't gotten it all done? Okay. I'm just gonna point that out there. And remember, I can only tell the truth. You can verify that, which again, in that reference, this doesn't do anything officially for me. This Ornery PSA, the journal blog, the YouTube, what have you, that doesn't, I haven't gotten a profit from that. I haven't been paid for my work. Yes, I'm medically retired from the Army, and I have the set, specific, whatever. I've worked to actually be capable to have something more. So, you know, it's kind of, you know, the larger paycheck or whatever. So, And not that and for clarification, I do appreciate the fact that I have that, which is it is a dichotomy, because especially when you take in consideration the fact that I am medically retired from the Army. I had a head injury on Palm Sunday, the year of 2000, during basic training. I could have been whatever choices there were, and instead, when it was needed, even though I didn't have to, I willingly made the choice, despite the situation that I was in as well, mind you. I made the decision to actually go and hear, what can I do to help guys that I know are going to have these issues? What, as far as the after effects from head injuries, or they're also called TBIs. What is it that, here can I get, just these different things. And that even includes my scuba diving. And so, while I know, yeah, sure, there are civilians who have had that, that's not something I don't know. Those constitutional rights actually mean something to me. I appreciate those constitutional rights. And while some people might have whatever opinions they have, my choice. And it's only within where I choose, not somebody else. So I didn't ever give any clearance to anybody to ever be involved officially. Let me also clarify that. If I did, do you know how you could understand where your only amount of, because it'd be limited, it'd have an end date, scuba diving courses. That's it. Once I graduated, that was your end date. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's over. It's done. Unless you actually have something that you officially inform me of by using your words audibly, actually going over specific. I was born and raised in New Jersey. That legal stuff is mandatory as far as I'm concerned to have that clarification because of how I am. I'm also medically retired from the Army, so there's also those very well-known facts. Yes, there are certain things when it comes to leeway. I will let you know when you've overstepped your lines, which I technically have. I have technically done so many, many times, and that includes before my Medal of Honor art project trips. So, there's obviously during my Medal of Honor art project trips and then afterwards and stuff like that. So it really truthfully is, okay, let me do this so that way you understand. You have the knowledge that you have been officially informed. For people who want to have certain opinions, what have you, I've made my clarifications. So again, this sort of stuff is not necessarily for myself officially, but it is. So that's how that is. I've obviously clarified my capabilities in these regards, including timelines. So, in that reference, I have dealt with a few things. And in dealing with several situations, the different experiences I've had, since again, I don't know who has, other than certain types of millennials, I haven't documented every second of every minute of every hour of every week of every month of every year of my life. But because I've gone through things, and again, the after effects of my head injury, as well as scuba diving, because in that reference, if those individuals had actually cared in the correct ways, spoken directly with me. And that's it. That's all. Because why would anybody else have any idea about my scuba diving? Sure, you could ask my biological mother, biological father, biological sister if they knew anything about my involvement with water. And most likely they would only be capable to tell you that I earned my way to meet Governor Christine Todd Whitman, and they'd probably only be capable to tell you that I went to the ocean every summer for years, and possibly go into my swimming regarding at the YMCA and camp. Other than that, they wouldn't have anything to give you as far as information. That's it. In regards of my son and my daughter, the only thing that, which again, they were minors, so then there's that factor. Only legal guardian. My son, my daughter, my biological son, my biological daughter, especially during those times, I am the one and only to have gone to and through. Nobody else whatsoever. Not how the garage situation in regards to that forced situation against my will, just no different than my now dead ex-husband, which again, people were informed of. If you couldn't put that math together back then, you do not have any right to ever make any decision on my behalf, ever. Which is probably why I guess I can make a joke as to Irving occurring, because, well, why would they go to you? Obviously, when in regards of what I've explained, they wanted my opinion and my assistance because of the situations thereof. So obviously you have been proven as to what have you regarding my biological mother, biological father, and biological sister. You've been proven in 2011 as to your lack of capabilities. That also combines with your associations in that reference. That goes to any ex-relationship, former relationship at those times. That also includes any possibilities of acquaintances, family, friends, and that sort of, it's not in any offense, that's just the facts. It wouldn't have occurred if that wasn't the importance. You know, I mean, I guess I could make a joke in reference to if there's ever been like that Men in Black sort of video, somebody shows up, well, take me to your leader. Well, why would they have to ask you that? They just go to who it is. Duh. That's kind of like, I don't know, because somebody had told me about that as far as some comic book or some movie or something that they had watched. It was, how stupid do you think extraterrestrials are? And remember, I had discussions with Austinites in Texas in the year of 2010 and 2011. So this was not only this discussion, several of them then, but also at other time frames. And it's one of those, why would you ever think that they would ever have to, what, do you think they're gonna just walk up to one of you and be like, take me to your leader? And don't you think they're smarter than that? Are you kidding? They flew from where and landed? So you're gonna tell me, you people really, because in Austin they actually, and you can make your own judgments on that. In Austin in 2010 and 2011, these people were literally telling me that they thought they were the most intelligent in the universe. And I called them out on this. It was one of those, do you wanna smaller size that? That's, the universe is kind of huge. And these people, they were like, well, Lady Dori, Belle, what would you know? You didn't graduate basic training. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really think I need to graduate basic training on that. Yeah, no, not to be rude. I don't know what my basic training has anything to do with. That's kind of common sense. And these people, because of the community I was in. Lady Dori Belle, you just don't know how stupid you are because you are not in college. Yeah, but I was at one point in time, and then I had a head injury. I'm just gonna leave it at that. You know, I mean, however you choose to review that is however you choose to review that. Yeah, but you know, you don't have the understanding because these people in Austin, we're in college or we graduate, whichever ones and whichever whatever. If you had actual intelligence, you would know that we who have graduated college or we who are in college, whichever, because there are multiple discussions on this, you would know how we are truly the smartest in the universe. You're talking the whole universe. Do you know how many galaxies there are in the universe? And you're all like, well, you know, you don't even go into the. Do you know how many planets there are in this galaxy? What is? Do you know how much stuff is in this galaxy? If you want to go and be like the whole universe, the whole universe, the whole, not just no. You can't even be like just in the city of Austin, in the state of Texas. The whole universe. Yes. Mm-hmm. The whole universe. Yeah. I don't think I gotta go to college for that. No. I mean, I did, and then I don't know. Maybe there's a reason. You know what? I believe there's a reason for everything, and you know what? Maybe there's a reason I had a head injury. And it probably didn't even have something to do with pissing off a drill sergeant. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I did piss off the drill sergeant. But at this point, I don't know. And this is back in 2010 and 2011. And these college students, they're all like, you don't know. If you actually, they seemed almost cultish. And it was like, so you really think that your college is that much? Yes. And then it was, well, which college are you going to? Because this is the state of Texas. Not to be rude. not to be rude. I kind of was born and raised in New Jersey, and I kind of grew up going to New York. So not to be rude, and they were, well, I don't know what colleges are actually in, some really good ones. Some of them are more expensive than others, but they're still good colleges, and they're respectable, and these Austinites were like, yeah, sure. Yeah, maybe, Lady Dori Belle. At some point in time, we are the up-and-coming college. Yeah. Up-and-coming to what? I guess it depends on your, no. So you think the whole universe. The whole universe. Yes, Lady Dori Belle. I disagree with you. And they had a problem with my disagreement. Like they truly, they really did. They had this huge problem that I did not agree that these college students in the Austin, Texas area were not the most intelligent in the universe. The whole universe. So I'm gonna make a joke real quick. So there's this guy, maybe you've heard of him. I call him E=MC², but he's known as Elon Musk. And then there's this guy called Jeff Bezos, and he has this, both of them have these space stuff, okay? And then there's this area of a government sort of thing called NASA. Yeah, there are those. There's more than that, okay? How many? I don't know if it's really a joke at this point, but I gotta know. How many of your employees have graduated from whichever Austin college that those people were talking about to work at your space stuff? Because I don't know, they said the whole universe. And I'm not the smartest crayon in the toolbox at all. Whatsoever. I am intelligent enough to know that that's not that smart. And I told them this. So there were a few discussions at a few events that I was at. And they were all, oh, Lady Dori, and it shouldn't take a headedry to figure out. Just because you have an expensive piece of paper, it doesn't mean anything as far as genuine intelligence. There's experience, there's actual intelligence compared to what you are told. Because you even understand the information that you have been given. Lady Dori, Belle, you just have to go and make sense. That's literally what I was told. You know what? All right then. I can't. I don't know. I can't handle it. I can't. And so, I guess in some ironies, luckily for me, my daughter had to be put into a hospital in a different location, so I got moved out of Austin. So my daughter had to be put in a hospital in Arkansas at the time, in Little Rock. And I had spoken with my son, and he knew that I was doing everything that I could for both him and his sister, being their mom. And, it wasn't in a discussion where it was putting a lot on his shoulders as best as I could. And so I had informed him, I said, your sister has another hospital that she has to go to. It's in a different state. It's a very long drive for me to make sure that you are taken care of, so I can either have us move all the way out to Arkansas, where the reality is you won't have any of your friends with you, or I can, move to a halfway point-ish to the DFW area, and you'll be able to have some time with some of your friends, and then I'll go and take care of your sister. And talked with him, and he gave me his opinion and stuff like that, and it was okay. I know that would be more ideal. It's okay, I can do that. And so I moved us to the Irving area, and my daughter was taken to the hospital that she needed assistance at in Arkansas, and I drove back and forth from Irving to Arkansas and back essentially every 2 weeks. And it's a long drive, but I needed to do what was best for both my son and my daughter. Because I also knew there was going to be a point where both of them were going to be above the age of 18 years old. And I was going to have to deal with processing stuff that I did not deal with, and I did not process. Now, in those references, that had to do with their biological father. I had made a choice in reference to raising my son and my daughter. And while there are certain situations that, yes, I did process, yes, I went through, yes, I did. No hesitation in that regard. You can actually see it in reference to finding a silver lining. Because I knew my son and my daughter at some point in time would read that, and it would be before the age of 18 years old. So in keeping true to my promise, I didn't go into those details because I knew that my son and my daughter reading that would be a lot for them to handle just with finding a silver lining. And so the attempt with finding the silver lining of something more, not to make fun of, but to laugh, something to smile about, because I knew there was going to be the point where I would have to deal with that. I would have to actually process the reality regarding their biological father. And there's no true way to be open to, there is the true way of being open to a relationship. But that particular type of situation regarding my son and my daughter's biological father, personally, I did not think it would be fair to an individual that I could possibly have a relationship with if I didn't process it on my own first. I know that might sound weird or come across as odd, but I had already, just in the time frame of 2008 through 2014, I had already dealt with a lot. And yes, I went into details in reference to the 1980s into the year of 2000, and yes, into some of the stuff afterwards. I did not think that it would be healthy for anybody that I could possibly have a relationship with, because that's something really heavy as far as how I had my son and my daughter. I didn't ever think anybody would actually be interested in me in reality. So it was one of those, well, whatever. But I made a promise to my son and my daughter. I do what I can to keep my promises as best as I possibly can. And I knew for a fact that I could not go over those details that I have gone through since after my daughter had turned 18 years old. I couldn't, no matter what, I couldn't allow myself to, same thing with my son being a year older by a year, 2 weeks, and 2 days, but I couldn't do that and to them, because it's heavy. I know that. And so, but also with that, the clarifications of the timelines, especially in regards of before ever going into the details more heavily in regards of the extraterrestrial sort of thing, or UFO, ufology, UAP, etc. So that way it's understood from the knowledge. And so again, this doesn't actually do anything for me. This is more along the lines of what a PSA is, a public service announcement, but I have to acknowledge the orneriness because I have to find something to laugh at, even if it is not necessarily the more common aspect to laugh at. Because I've been through things, and that's the only way you can. There's a comedian named Christopher Titus, and I had listened to him a few times, and he had been concerned about certain situations from his childhood. And a few of the things he had brought up was that he had wished his mom had the ability to have found comedy because he had learned certain things over the years. And he really thought that that was something that would have helped, which I agree. I do. There is the fine line of comedy because you don't necessarily want to cause problems, but you do find the way to laugh at certain situations so that way you can overcome certain things. So I very much agree with that. And so, hence the ornery PSA, which I would guesstimate he probably is. He probably is a bit ornery. He probably is. I mean, he is a comedian, so you know, I mean, come on now. But nonetheless, yeah, so, yeah, that was kind of a big deal to me. So, and so that reference of, even though there are times in reference of certain things I can find satirical or laughable or jovial or whatever, it still is the reality, it still is the truth. It's based in facts. So those clarifications are important. And I wanted to create this video before I really start getting heavier into those particular aspects, because it's a lot. I can make a joke if you want to make a joke in regards of, yeah, sure, I had my head injury after I had already been officially in college. I was in AP college classes as well as college algebra with trigonometry and calculus. And I had taken Greco-Roman Latin, all that sort of stuff. I had the application as well as the testing, which would be the equivalent of ASVAB testing for those who understand the MEP station, and then the 3 interviews regarding Marine and Science Technology School, on top of several other factors. I could make a joke, I had a head injury in that regard in some ways, I don't know, because of whether you take that Austin sort of situation into consideration or in comparison or however. Well, the amount of situations from my childhood and my teenage years. And then you have Irving and that whole thing. And the irony of ironies of making the joke. Yeah, so, you know, they'll just like, do you think that they're so whatever because you think you're all college-y and whatever? And then, you know, the back patio. And I already described that, where they're like, yeah, so what do we do? Because we've been watching what's been going on with the earth, and do you have any suggestions? Which is an irony to time frame, because there was more than one situation regarding that. And I did actually, I was dealing with what I was dealing with in 2011. And there were a few situations that are similar. When I say Irving, it is a multiple time sort of situation comparatively, which again, you know, whatever, they're just, you know, it's just the Milky Way galaxy. it's just that. And but in that reference, I was going through and dealing with the law firm at the time regarding Carrollton Farmers Branch Independent School District and McCoy Elementary School and the Fort Worth Zoo, and my biological mother, biological father, biological sister were not helpful in any way. My ex-in-laws were doing as they were doing. And I really had absolutely no support system, no matter what. And I was doing everything I could for my son while doing everything I could for my daughter. And there was a point in time where Tide Publishing is who I had essentially sent the stuff to. That would have been about 3 weeks after one particular situation in regards to Irving. I had literally written that in about a 72-hour time frame. Literally, I had the situation that occurred, and there was no possibility for me to not write it after one of those particular situations. And so I did. I sent it out to a few publishing companies, but Ty at that time had picked it up for a while, and there was so many other situations at the time. It's actually ironic. After winding up in Washington State, I'll just drive out there. Well, that's a house. I'm so confused. I thought a publishing company would be. I'm confused. Okay, never mind. I'm just gonna. I didn't know what to do. It was one of those. I drove out there, and it's like, well then. I'm gonna go off to Everett in a little bit. Don't mind me. Hi. And I really did. I wanted to go knock on the door. I acknowledge it. I did. But then it was one of those, I don't know. I don't know this. I don't know. I'm kind of, I'm confident enough to go do my Medal of Honor art project trips. I am confident enough to earn 26 scuba diving certifications, go handle some business in the ocean. I'm confident enough to go do that. I'm gonna go this way. I'm a little nervous, because because I didn't know how to deal with that. I was one of those I'm just gonna, I don't know. I'm gonna go drive around instead. Don't mind me. I can acknowledge my weakness. Yes, I can fully acknowledge my weakness of being a pansy little titty baby. That's perfectly fine. Yes, okay. I'm gonna just so to pansy little temper tantrum sort of whatever, I'm just gonna go drive around the United States of America and handle a bunch of other stuff instead, because I'm a tomboy and that's what I know some of my guys that I knew back when I grew up, as well as re-grew up, ironically. It's what I know that they would do. I learned from them, so what's up, you guys? Yeah, what's up? Don't let my skirt fool you. Or maybe Dori, no. I'm so grown up and rar. You just don't know how rar I am. I'm so rar that I'm gonna go do that instead. Because that seems, I don't know. So I'm just gonna go do that and document along a bunch of stuff that I see and, take notations and then where did you come from? Because the amount of stuff that I saw, it is what it is. So this is it is the beginning of. So, but there is that clarification because of needing to do so because of the emotional attachment during certain time frames. So to be more clear in reference of, yes, these were the situations that were going on at the time, and no, they are not metaphors when I go in reference to the different experiences, because you'll notice the time frame. So this will be, yes, during the time frame of, but these were similarly to Finding a Silver Lining, to the modern day book. This particular aspect, I could go into the writing portions, which I acknowledge I'm having difficulty doing so, or it's that's the part where I'm having, it does have to do with quite a few things, and so it'll be how it'll be, because it's a lot. It's not like it's one or two experiences. It's not like it's, even Irving, that's why I just leave it as Irving, because it's just that many experiences just in Irving. And both in regard, it got, in Irving, it started, there was one or two times when in the first apartment, it was a second apartment that I can't count how many times. And so that's kind of just in that reference. I know it was multiple times. And there was even a guy who lived in the apartment beneath mine, where my son, my daughter, when she wasn't in the hospital, and I, as well as Patrick Kennedy at that time, he had lived in the apartment beneath ours, and kind of ironically, similarly to the apartment I'm in now, there were certain situations. Now, the majority of time was very, very different-ish compared to, I don't know what he had particularly done for employment, but there were the situations regarding certain sounds, and I was literally sitting outside on the back patio when he was talking about certain problems as far as sounds were concerned. And so, is what it is. Did the best. I do the best I can. So, you guys have a good day, and make sure to go to my website, www.susanmeeling.com.